All right, let's jump right into this explainer. I want you to cast your mind back to 1982 for just a second. Picture the analog magic of Westlake Studios in Los Angeles. This is where Michael Jackson was, quite literally changing the entire fabric of sound. He was layering his voice like a massive symphony, using hiccups and gasps to turn rhythm into this totally physical entity. Okay, now fast forward with me to a sleek, minimalist setup in Silicon Valley. The year is 2026. There's no massive mixing board in sight, no traditional dance floor. It's literally just a microphone and a supercomputer.
So this brings us to a really fascinating hypothetical scenario. What if the king of pop collaborated with artificial intelligence today? We all know Michael Jackson was a notorious perfectionist, right? This is a man who famously spent weeks just getting a single snare drum sound exactly right. So imagine him ditching that traditional producer role, and instead he's sitting side by side with an AI prompt engineer to craft his next big masterpiece.
That legendary perfectionism, it takes on a completely new form in the AI era. Instead of physically twisting knobs on a console, his famous search for the absolute perfect sound becomes this highly evocative, cinematic prompt. Just imagine him looking over at the prompt engineer and saying, "Give me a bass line that feels like a heartbeat, but make it sound like it's driving through a rainy night in Tokyo."
And the staggering speed of this new creative workflow, it's honestly hard to comprehend. 1.4 seconds. That is exactly how long it takes for the AI to process that poetic, super demanding prompt and instantly generate 50 distinct baseline options for him to choose from. The barrier between a feeling in the artist's head and the actual audio output is essentially erased.
Section 1. The Vocal Paradox: Building an Impossible Voice. In this space, AI serves as way more than just a synthetic replacement. It actually becomes a literal time machine, completely bypassing the standard biological limits of human aging. Michael's vocal range was legendary for sure, but even he was subject to time. But what if he wasn't? AI wouldn't just replace his current voice, it could mathematically blend eras together. Think about it. He could take that smooth, youthful timbre from his 1979 off-the-wall era and flawlessly fuse it with the aggressive, mature grit of his 1990s dangerous era. He could literally duet with his younger self, or even sing with a vocal cord configuration that never actually existed in nature. It's a completely impossible voice, brought to life by algorithms. Section 2. Soul versus machine logic: The Search for the Hurt.
So the actual creative process essentially becomes this brutal tug-of-war between the human emotional core, what Michael famously called the hurt in the music, and flawless, cold machine calculation. See, AI calculates emotion based purely on data points. It doesn't actually feel anything at all. So imagine Michael pushing the AI to its absolute breaking point, rejecting an output by saying, "No, that beat is too perfect. It lacks mistakes. Give me a human error." He would be forcing the machine to unlearn its own flawless logic just to find the grit of human imperfection.
Now let's look at how this impacts the songwriting itself. We all know Michael wrote deeply about media, paranoia, and surveillance. Well, if we fed his entire catalog into a large language model, an AI analyzing his favorite minor sevenths and those dramatic key changes, the lyrical focus would inevitably shift. Instead of singing about the paparazzi hiding in the bushes, an AI-assisted Michael Jackson might write about the modern anxiety of algorithms watching our every single digital move. The themes would evolve right alongside the technology.
And this totally transforms the instrumentation process. Michael famously used to beatbox whole tracks with his mouth before recording traditional instruments. Well, in 2026, he beatboxes into a microphone, the AI maps every single breath and click in real time, and boom, it instantly synthesizes a live stadium rock drum kit. The technology doesn't change what he's creating, it just drastically accelerates how he creates it. His breath directly controls these massive digital synthesizers in an instant.
Section 3. The Perfectionist's Nightmare: The Dark Side of Technology. Now, this hypothetical collaboration introduces massive artistic dilemmas and ethical questions into the music industry that we simply cannot ignore. The absolute most crucial question here is this: if an AI can recreate Michael Jackson's voice perfectly, who actually owns the art? It's a really profound question of authenticity. Think about it for a second. If Michael uses an AI that was originally trained on thousands of other artists' music to create his next big hit, is it still purely a Michael Jackson song? Where exactly does the training data end and the artist begin?
And this infinite power creates another major danger for a creator like him: the infinite choice trap. Michael was famous for leaving hundreds of songs unreleased simply because they just weren't ready. With AI, you can change the entire mix with one click. You can alter vocal pitch instantly and shift the key and the rhythm endlessly. For a legendary perfectionist, does this infinite power to tweak actually free him, or does it completely paralyze him in a trap of endless adjustments?
When that first AI-assisted single finally drops, the public reaction would inevitably be totally divided. The critics, they'd likely dismiss it right out of the gate as a soulless corporate product. But the fans? They'd likely declare the king is back, bridging the gap between humanity and the future. And honestly, regardless of where you sit on that spectrum, the broader industry would be completely upended. If the biggest artist in history embraces AI, every other musician has to follow suit, or they're just going to get left behind in the analog dust.
Section 4. The Final Mix and Legacy. The Metaverse Concert.
An AI collaboration of this magnitude wouldn't just quietly live on Spotify or Apple Music. It would transcend into a massive, live, global experience. Picture a global metaverse concert where an AI-driven hologram of Michael Jackson is dancing, powered by a physics engine trained exclusively on his classic 1980s choreography. It allows him to pull off moves that completely defy human anatomy. But here's the kicker. It's not a pre-recorded video. The AI is reacting organically to the cheers of 80,000 virtual fans. If the crowd gets louder, the AI alters the tempo of the music on the fly, literally feeding off the human crowd's energy in real time.
But ultimately, a computer is nothing without a vision. Technology is just a tool, exactly like a paintbrush. Michelangelo needed a brush, sure, but the brush didn't paint the Sistine Chapel. If Michael Jackson recorded music with AI, he wouldn't let the machine dictate the art. He would force the machine to learn how to feel. And it leaves us with this really provocative thought to ponder today. As algorithms learn to perfectly mimic our voices and our movements, will we let them replace us, or will we use them to prove that despite billions of parameters, the absolute most powerful force in music is still the human heart?